Hi and welcome back to Love English. What a week it has been. So much has happened in the news in the last week. We started off with this.
He's going to pack the court.
We have
not going to give a list.
We have ended this segment. We're going to move on to.
And we've ended with this.
Donald Trump has said he and his wife Melania have coronavirus and have begun a period of quarantine.
Yes, nothing seems impossible these days when it comes to the news. And of course, when it comes to the American election, the world's media is really watching. And it has been interesting to say the least. Now, in today's lesson, I'm going to be focusing on a specific language point. One that apparently American potential and current presidents are not able to navigate particularly well. Both Joe Biden and Donald Trump have been heavily criticised for how they handled themselves during the debate. And in particular, how Joe Biden really lost it with Trump.
The radical left. Will you shut up, man? Listen, who is on your list, Joe?
Now, I don't know about your language, but in English, to say shut up to somebody is rude. It is considered really, really rude, and particularly when you're in a formal setting. So today, what I want to help you do is find more articulate, creative ways of telling someone to be quiet, to shut up. And you don't have to be rude. I'm going to start with some more formal, polite expressions. And just for fun, I'm going to throw in a few slang, informal expressions. Some are particularly rude, so be very careful how, where, and when you use them. Now, before we get started, if you are interested in perfecting the subtleties of English, in achieving a more formal level of English, whether that's for academic purposes or indeed business, or even if you'd like to run for president, then our partners Cambly are a great way to help you achieve this. Now, most of you know that Cambly is an online language app dealing exclusively in English, providing you with native, qualified, professional teachers to help you perfect your English and reach the level you need. Don't forget, of course, Cambly also have a number of courses specifically designed with you in mind. So as well as offering bespoke, tailored classes and lessons, you can also study with Cambly for business English, IELTS speaking, and looking at ways to express yourself in English in various situations. Use the code Leila-SABRAH10 and save 10% off a 1-month course, save 19% with a 3-month course, and save 32% if you book a course for 1 year. So depending on how motivated and serious you are, you can really benefit from Cambly's discounts. And remember, one of my favorite things is that you can choose your teacher. It is in your control. Cambly offer lessons with teachers 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and they could be American, British, Canadian, Australian. So whatever kind of English you want to learn, Cambly has a teacher for you. Right, on with the lesson. 16 amazing ways going from formal to rather informal and a little bit rude. Ways to say, shut up. Now remember, there are 2 different reasons that you're going to ask somebody to shut up. It might be because you want to be able to speak and they're not allowing you because they're speaking all the time, as with our friends President Trump and Joe Biden. Or it might just be that someone is making a lot of noise. That could be with music or simply talking or speaking very loudly in a group of people. So whether you want someone to stop talking to allow you to talk, or whether you'd like somebody to keep the noise down, these expressions are going to help you do this in a more polite way. And then let's just use some slang. Now remember, to make any of these expressions a little more polite, you can use please at the beginning or at the end of the sentence. I'll throw in a few examples just to make sure that you're clear. Right, number 1, could you keep it down? Could you keep it down? Could you keep it down, please? Please, could you keep it down? Keeping it down is a lovely phrasal verb, and it's referring to asking someone to keep the volume down, whether that's because they're talking loudly, playing loud music, they have the television on loud. Any reason that a lot of noise is being made, and it could be because you're doing something, it could simply be because you're concentrating or you're trying to have a conversation with somebody else. It's too noisy. Could you keep it down, please? Number 2, another lovely indirect question. Would you mind keeping it down, please? Would you mind keeping it down, please? Again, would you mind or could you? Both much more formal and polite because they are indirect questions. They work very well in these kind of situations in a business environment where you don't want to offend anybody, but equally so, they're being noisy and you can't handle it. You need quiet, you need peace for whether you're working, studying, talking. Could you keep it down, please? Would you mind keeping it down, please? Now, number 3, using could again, but specifically with this phrase. Could you just let me? Could you just let me finish? Could you just let me answer the question? Or you could simply have, could you just let me finish answering the question? Could you just let me finish explaining what I was trying to say? So after finish, remember you need a gerund. So explaining, answering. But this works really nicely when somebody is talking over you. They're not giving you the opportunity to speak. And this would have been perfect for Joe Biden to have used with Donald Trump. Although, let's be honest, I'm not sure how much Donald Trump would have really paid attention to anyone telling him to be quiet. It certainly hasn't worked for the last 4 years. It certainly hasn't been possible for the last 4 years. Would you let me finish? You can see how could and would are used interchangeably. Would is probably a little stronger, whereas could is referring more to the ability, but both work in essentially the same way. Would you just let me finish? Would you just let me finish answering the question, explaining what I was saying? So really, very simple ways of being polite and telling someone to be quiet without using those 2 words. Shut up. It's not necessary. See how great those expressions were? Try them yourself. But remember, tone of voice is also very important. If I were to say, could you just let me finish? Then clearly I'm slightly more frustrated and annoyed. Could you just let me finish? Perhaps showing a level of assertiveness, but not being too rude. Now, number 6 is really simple. Please be quiet. It's that simple. Please be quiet. Please be quiet. I'm trying to answer the question. Please be quiet. I'm trying to study. Whatever it is, whatever the reason, you can add it on, give an explanation for why you need somebody to be quiet. And this is obviously referring to them speaking or making a lot of noise. Please be quiet. I'm trying to answer the question. Now, number 7, you could simply tell them that you are trying to do something. Excuse me, I'm trying to have a conversation here. Excuse me, I'm trying to explain something here. So here, you don't even have to say, be quiet, could you keep it down? You're simply drawing their attention to the fact that you have not finished, that you are in the middle of something and they are interrupting you by speaking over you or being very noisy. Excuse me, I'm trying to answer their question. I'm trying to explain myself. I'm trying to have a conversation here. Simple but effective and not too rude. But of course, if somebody is being noisy, interrupting you, you have every right to explain that you started talking first. Similarly, number 8. If you would just let me finish what I was saying, if you would just let me answer the question, or a little bit more formal, if you would just allow me to answer the question, if you would just allow me to explain myself, meaning give me the opportunity to speak without you speaking over me or interrupting me. If you would just let me or allow me to explain myself, answer the question. Works perfectly and still very polite, but quite firm. This would have been a brilliant phrase for them to use in the presidential debate. And why they didn't, I don't know.
The radical left. Will you shut up, man? Listen, who is on your list, Joe?
Right, moving on and getting a little bit informal here. Moving down to some rather strong phrases. When there is too much noise, when there is too much going on, I can't hear myself think. I can't hear myself think. This means that things are so noisy and loud, whether it's talking or just general noise, perhaps kids running around and shouting. I can't hear myself think, meaning it's so noisy, my thoughts are being disrupted, let alone being able to speak and say anything. I can't hear myself think, meaning be quiet, keep it down, it is too loud and too chaotic. Number 10, I can't get a word in edgeways. I can't get a word in edgeways. This essentially is referring to the fact that you're not given any opportunity to speak, so you can't even interject, to say something, to respond. I can't get a word in edgeways. So it seemed like Donald Trump didn't want Joe Biden to get a word in edgeways. And more or less, he succeeded. Number 11, pipe down. Pipe down. Essentially, be quiet, shut up, but using an idiomatic expression, and that means it is slightly less offensive than shut up. Would you pipe down, please? Meaning, would you please be quiet? Often used with children when people are being particularly noisy. Number 12. Can you guess it? What's this? It's a sock. Yes. And where did I put it? Oh, my mouth. Ugh. Yes. If you tell someone to put a sock in it, in your mouth basically, but you say in it. Usually when we're talking to children, when someone won't shut up, when they won't be quiet and you want them to, you can say very informally, very much slang, put a sock in it. It's a great idiomatic expression to use, but again, be very careful how you use it because with all slang, it can be quite rude. If you're talking informally with friends, oh, come on, put a sock in it, meaning, come on, be quiet. In this way, it's probably not quite so rude, but if you said it to your boss, you might not have a job left later. Number 13, if someone is going on and on, they keep talking, whether that's complaining, whether that's talking about something that's rather boring, would you give it a rest? Come on, give it a rest. Meaning you've talked enough, you've said enough, we've heard it a million times. Stop, please. Give it a rest, meaning have a break. Shut up. Number 14, classic, not particularly sophisticated, but of course, it will work. Shh, shh. Definitely rude, definitely not to be used at work or in formal situations. Maybe only with your kids, and even then, that's pretty rude and you wouldn't want them to do it to you. So I don't recommend using shh because, ooh, so annoying. If anyone did it to me, I'd probably want to punch them or literally put a sock in their mouth. So shh, here's an alternative. Not really a phrase, not really about English, the international way of telling somebody to shut up. Okay, 15 and 16. In fact, there's quite a few here. Number 15, very, very rude. Shut your face. Shut your face. Much ruder than shut up. Shut your face, be quiet, shut up completely. It's really rude. It would be said if you really want to start an argument with someone, to be honest. So avoid it, but you might hear it and you can probably guess what it means within the context. But if someone tells you to shut your face, they are being extremely rude and telling you to shut up. Now, how many slang words can you think of for mouth? Well, there's quite a few, and in number 16, our final expression that's very, very informal, very much, I would say, rude. Yes, definitely rude. Much ruder than to say shut up. Slang for mouth could be trap, gob, or creatively, pie hole. Pie hole, yes. Even if you don't eat pies, it doesn't matter. Your pie hole is referring to your mouth. So your three options here are shut your trap, shut your gob, shut your pie hole. So those three, very rude, very creative, a little bit expressive. Don't use them unless you really want to get into a fight or an argument with somebody. But if you do hear them, then you understand why. Shut your trap, shut your gob, shut your pie hole. But let's rise above all of these rather informal, rude expressions and stick with a few from the beginning. After all, if you're ever in a presidential debate, you don't want to look like complete idiots like they did.
But why didn't you do it over the last 25 years?
Because you weren't president. Because you weren't president screwing things up.
So thank you so much for watching. If you think I have missed any expressions, whether formal or informal, then do comment below and let me know. Also, I'm not really one for getting involved in politics on YouTube, but I'd love to hear what you thought of Joe Biden telling Trump to shut up. Did you think it was rude or rather necessary in this case? Comment below and let me know. And don't forget, click the link in the description to go through to Cambly, or of course you can search for them, like that probably, on your phone in the App Store. Download the Cambly app to learn English with a real native professional teacher and learn lots more expressions like these. Thank you for watching. Bye.